The shape of the industry.
Yeah, I'm some kind. Yeah. So I mean, on the first part of this whole thing, in terms of what needs to be done here, you have to keep watching where value migrates to. You know, you better not fall in love with the value propositions that you have today. You know, my friend here talked about the bleak years, you know, in IBM. Actually, you know, IBM didn't get in trouble because somebody beat us. IBM got in trouble because we forgot to be relevant in the marketplace. You know, we forgot to pay attention to what real value was. What do people want to spend their money on? What do people really want to buy? I mean, that's a challenge for a company our size, where we do everything. We're not confused. For all of you to think that value is going to rest where it is in services, I think that's terribly naive. You sound like us 20 years ago saying value rests in the mainframe. It's moving. You better find where value is going to in the marketplace. I suspect it actually moves to outcomes in the final analysis. I think people care less and less about all of this stuff. They want the answer. Can you give me the answer? Can you do that for me? I don't really care about anything else. Very much like the Barclay model, by the way, you know, that says, I know what I'm good at. It's getting clients and keeping them happy with me. You worry about everything else. Don't come to me with that problem. I need something that does this, something that does that, something that you got one of those? I'm taking it. That's what you have to start thinking about and get ready for. Because none of these things that we've developed, none of these outsourcing ideas that we've developed are resting places for anything, as far as I'm concerned.
Excellent. I'd like each of you to say something about this last question, and we'll conclude with that. Would you like to go next? Or?
Yeah, the way I look at it is that outsourcing is a concept that's already passé. I mean, what we're looking at is fundamental transformation of organizational structures. And I think the best analog in history that I've seen is middle of the 19th century when the railroad was introduced. What that did is it actually created the economic impetus for organizational creation. Up until then, the only thing we had of organizational scale compared to what we have today is the church and the military. Right? And all of the modern enterprises that we have now are a residual of that function. So I think the next big change is the use of this technology to really aggressively change those business models and organizational structures and process structures as dramatically as what we saw from the 1850 all the way to this point. That's where the change is going to happen. It's not going to be in the IT incremental improvements, in my view.
Mm-hmm. I'll simply re-echo the thoughts that have been actually put on the table and say that for us, it's not outsourcing. We don't even use that word whatsoever. For us, it is a strategic transformational partnership. And when we look at that, it is transforming our business as it is transforming the partner's business along the way. 2 more points. It is clearly outcome orientation, and I completely agree with what Nick said. At the end of the day, we don't care about the effort, we care about the result. And that result should be well aligned on both sides. So as long as it's business outcome oriented, we're all fine. And finally, I think there is a complementarity of skill sets and competencies. That complementarity of competencies actually creates sparks of innovation, which in turn will fuel further businesses for each partners involved.
I'll probably come more from the technology perspective, and what we see is the way things are being done in both IT-enabled services, IT services, BPO space today is going to get transformed significantly, where the things are going to move away from the desktop to the mobiles. I think the mobiles are going to become more and more center of all business transactions, and they're going to play a significant role.
Well, thank you very much. I think this has been brilliant, the 4 of you. Nicholas, as our keynote, you really struck it. As you could see, we couldn't just stop, and we probably will not stop for a long time. And these 3 panelists, Lemul, Jay, and Rajiv, brilliant. I think this is an example of, there was no top-down plan, right? It's like a jazz, right? You play quite well, yes. It's sort of moving. Yeah, it's doing very well. So thank you very much, all of you. And thank you all for your active participation.